Expressed on
Okay, I'll see you guys.
Hey, Rob, we're getting started here right now.
callers and/or listener emails, texts, and/or letters, and are not necessarily the opinions of WDAY or Forum Communications. WDAY 970 AM and 93.1 FM invites you to make your opinion known. We pride ourselves on exploring all viewpoints on any topic.
Do you know who I am? I don't know how to put this, but kind of a big deal.
Oh, boy.
People know me.
Here we go.
I'm very happy for you.
Jay Thomas Show. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Did a little barbecuing this weekend. Well, I didn't. Mama did. I just sat by and ate up some good meat from Meats by John Wayne. As always, a bunch of topics. Well, let me rephrase that. Today, a couple topics. Look, I am, Kyle, and I don't know about you or your listeners, you, Rob Port. This coronavirus has just been taken to the unbelievable hype, terrify Americans level. Look, I understand that this virus is deadly, has killed people. But I just, the media has gone way overboard. With that said, now you may go, well, wait a minute, Thomas. Now you're being a little bit of a hypocrite here. On the show today, I've got some folks coming on regarding coronavirus. I am going to actually at 3:05, I have a gal, Carrie Closto, and she's on that Grand Princess ship. She's from Grand Forks. She's going to come on and just talk about what it has been like to be stuck on that ship. And she also has stage 4 cancer. And she was supposed to be back here to get her treatments. So she's going to join us at 3:05 this afternoon. Mayor Tim Mahoney is going to join us at 2:35. We're going to talk to the mayor about flood preparation. Sandbank Central opens up tomorrow. But, of course, the mayor's also a doctor. So we're going to have him on. Also, Brenton Neesmere with he's a local epidermatologist with Cass Public Health. He's going to come on. Rob, it's just, Rob, we got to get the facts out there. We have to. This thing is just, I've had listeners send me pictures this morning, and I don't know how many stores are like this, where it's just the shelves are wiped out, buddy. They're gone. The products are gone. You can't even get damn toilet paper.
Well, it's kind of people are panicking, and I guess it's hard not to. I mean, I read some of the headlines. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I'm a little scared too, but I don't know. My family and I went out and we went about our business. We went to
we did too.
We went to a flea market here. We went to there was a home and garden show. My kids and I went to big crowds. We walked around. I mean, we did our thing. And granted, North Dakota's kind of at a remove from this sort of thing. But, I mean, the way it's spreading, I mean, there's, 2 cases in Minnesota now?
Minnesota, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I understand people are scared. But on the other hand, I think what's missing is some perspective. And it's so much of our media just seems shaped around shoehorning everything that happens into pre-existing narratives. I think on a story like this, it does it, a real disservice, whether it's in the political realm, obviously the area that I'm most interested in. It's everybody trying to score points on one another. I've heard Democrats tell me, I've seen them on social media, talking about how, they want to make this Donald Trump's Hurricane Katrina.
I was just reading that story before we came on the air. It was a couple hosts on MSNBC. Yeah. Basically, they were saying, they hope that the deaths take Donald Trump's presidency down. I mean, that's pathetic.
Why do we care? I mean, listen, I hope everybody who is in a position to have an impact to our response to this is doing a good and competent job, because we're all human. I mean, this is something that impacts human beings, and I'd rather not see people die. And I mean, there are things here we need to be concerned about, and we need to keep our eyes on it. But on the other hand, I was reading an article. It's a thing. It's called Farr's Law. Have you read anything about this? FARR. No. Farr's Law. It was formulated in 1840, and essentially it's a law that states that epidemics tend to rise and fall in a symmetrical pattern. It's sort of a bell-shaped curve, right, where they outbreak and then they subside. And the flu outbreaks follow this pretty much every year. AIDS has followed this. SARS follows this. Ebola follows this. And so what happens is these things peak and they fade. Yeah. It's a lot of also and listen, I'm not a doctor, so please verify all this, but I'm just kind of looking at what's going on out in the world. Another part of this is, that they're talking about how many people have died. Well, you got to remember that the first outbreak happened in China. And China, A, didn't do a very good job of spreading information about it, and B, does not have a very good healthcare system.
I was just going to say, they don't have what we have here when it comes to healthcare.
Right. So, of course, deaths, if something like this outbreaks, it's going to impact Chinese people the same way it does Americans. But unfortunately, our Chinese friends don't have the same level of access to healthcare that we do.
And this keeps getting brought up, but it is a very valid point. Look at the amount of people that die each year from the flu.
Yeah,
thousands and thousands. The hype behind this, and I do think it's something that we should be keeping an eye on. It is something you should be somewhat, concerned about. But this thing has just been hyped, way overhyped by the national media. It's just out of control, Rob.
I think sometimes a story, a news thing will come along. Have you ever noticed, like sometimes, if we just want to talk about media reaction to this, if you look in another area, sometimes a mass shooting or a mass attack will just make a huge amount of news, right?
Yep.
And it'll run for multiple news cycles. All the different political leaders and everybody will be weighing in. It'll be just a huge deal. And sometimes it doesn't. And there doesn't really seem to be any rhyme or reason to why one attack is. It doesn't really seem to be related to like body counts or the identity of the attacker or anything like that. It just kind of seems like some stories come along when the news media needs something to grab onto.
No.
And I think coronavirus, absolutely a legitimate news story. And absolutely there are things we need to be concerned about. Absolutely we need to be hearing from our health department officials and all, in North Dakota and across the country about, what to do, how to protect ourselves, how ready they are. Those are all valid things to report on. But I think when you start getting into the upper echelons, some of the punditry and everything that's going on, it is hype. And it's scaring people, and I don't think that's a good thing.
I mean, just if you just read the headlines, and that's what a lot of people do, especially in the world of social media. They'll see a headline, not read the whole story, and then the rumor mill just gets rolling. Just some of the headlines today, if you're just reading the headlines, you're thinking that's it. It's the end of time. It's over. Let's see. New Jersey's first patient warns it happened so quick. Shocking escalation from no symptoms to death in just hours. Threat fuels demand for herbal remedies. Kramer blasts Trump. We want leadership. We don't want golfing. And by the way, that's not Kevin Kramer. That's that Kramer dude, the
financial guy.
The financial guy, yeah.
President
retweets photo of himself fiddling. Stock trading halted after selling triggers. Just anxiety grips companies across the world. We're past the point of containment. Congress considering emergency shutdown. It goes on, and we do live in a world right now where it's read the headlines and nothing else. And that's what a lot of people do. So then the hype just grows from that. Then people say, oh, my God, did you see this? Or they add their little extra 2 cents to it, and it just blows up. And you're right, Rob. This is something that we should be keeping an eye on, and we should be hearing from our health officials like we'll do today on the program, like I did, what was it, last week or the week before? It's wow. I have no other words for it. Buddy.
So as of right now, and obviously these numbers are very much in flux, there's been about 3,400 coronavirus deaths globally out of about 100,000 identified cases. And it's always hard to pin down these ratios because a lot of people, like if you're a younger person, you may have coronavirus and you may just think you have the flu. Yeah. Or a cold or something, and you may never actually seek treatment, and then you may end up being just fine, and maybe some of these ratios are hard. But what we've identified so far is about 3,400 coronavirus deaths out of 100,000. I want to read you some numbers from a flu pandemic in the United States past, And no, I'm not talking about the 1918 pandemic because that was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about a 2009 flu pandemic. 59 million Americans contracted the H1N1 virus in 2009 that we identified. 265,000 were hospitalized and 12,000 people died in 2009.
That's just in America.
In 2009. Now, do you remember this? Do you remember the panic in 2009?
I do.
Do you remember the stock markets tanking and everything else?
No. I don't remember the market.
So why now and not then?
Well, I'm not a financial guy, but I look at it. Why are they tanking? I think one is because we are in very political hot. I mean, politics has always been a hot button thing, but I think they're really hot now, and this is being used politically. I think that you have more social media, more people on social media than you did. Well, did we really even have social media in 2009? There's a lot of factors that play into this.
My point is there was a flu pandemic in 2009 that killed 12,000 people, and I'm pretty sure that if most people hadn't just heard me read this off the Wikipedia article that I have in front of me, most people probably wouldn't even remember the flu pandemic of 2009. That's not that's not exactly a historical milestone in the history of America. Most people aren't going to recall that. But yet it happened, and 12,000 people died, and we're not even close to that with coronavirus, and yet we have this panic, this absolute hysteria. And of course the markets are reacting. Markets are going to react rationally when you start shutting down travel, and when you start shutting down shipping, and when you scare the bejesus out of people, and they decide, I'm not going to go to conventions, or I'm not going to go on the vacation that I plan.
And that's why stuff's getting shut down.
And
it's getting shut down because
people are scared.
People are scared, and these businesses are shutting it down because they know, look, we're going to shut this down because people aren't going to show up.
Would you want to be the one business, too, on the block that's – I mean, if everybody – I mean, that becomes a domino effect, right? Mm-hmm. So if everybody else shuts down and you're the one person who didn't shut down, are you going to get sued? Like, if one of your customers contracts coronavirus, are you going to get sued or something? I mean, these business owners are in a terrible position. The stock markets are reacting rationally, right? Because you shut down all that air travel and everything else. Well, what is that going to do to the petroleum markets?
Yeah.
Well, then the oil markets are going to tank. And some of the oil markets, too, has to have what's going on with Saudi Arabia and Russia right now.
And Russia,
There's some other factors at play there. But, of course, I mean, oil is very much a on-demand type of energy. If you stop flying so many jets, if you start grounding jets and everything, it's going to tank the oil markets. That's just how it works.
Well, so, it's gonna hurt those stocks for that, whether it be an airline company, cruise ship company, whatever it is. Because guess what? Money's not coming in because people aren't flying. They're not taking cruises.
I want to be clear. People shouldn't be, when it comes to your health, please listen to the experts. Listen to the health experts. Don't listen to Jay and Rob. You and I are just commenting on sort of the media reaction and comparing things, and I think this is all valid commentary. Listen to the experts. Be cautious, but, some of this hype, some of this hysteria, just take a deep breath. We're going to be fine.
All right. Let me take a break here. We'll come back. If you want to jump into the conversation, as always, my phone lines are open to you listeners. We love when you call the program, 293-9000, toll-free 1-888-970-9329. You can email us talk at WDAY.com. Also, before we go to the break here, Rob, I don't know if you caught this today, too. Now, what is it? 17 states, they've got schools shutting down. They're just closing the schools, and the kids can do their schooling from home. Oh. I mean, it's just the panic continues. And you're right. Don't listen to Facebook medicine, social media medicine. Listen to the experts.
Yeah.
That's who you need to listen to. Dr. Oz today.
I was reading a Facebook post about how essential oils will keep coronavirus at bay. Don't listen to those people.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the headlines that I read earlier when I started just going through some of the headlines, and one of them is, people are, they're flocking to herbal remedies. I mean, come on, people. That's why we'll have the powers to be, the people that know this stuff, on it at 2:35 this afternoon. All right, let me take a break. We'll come back more with Rob Port. This is the Jay Thomas Show. Better than Ezra in the blood.
Can you be so warm? Can you know what I feel? But it's the way you move your hair.
All right, Rob, let me do a bunch of emails. We're going to talk about how Biden is sitting against Sanders in the state of North Dakota. I know DFM did some research. You got the story up at sandingblog.com and Inform. Emails. Hey, Jay, I work for a clinic and went shopping today and could not find Lysol wipes of sanitizer. Shelves are picked clean. Talk about panicking. And if you try to order online, these products are either out of stock or the price has tripled, which that is wrong. That price gouging, there is nothing, I think, more evil than price gouging when people are in need of a product. Another email, I do agree with you, Jay. The media is really blowing this out of the water, but that is also your own station. I mean, look at the past week. The top story on your own station is every newscast is coronavirus. Well, that's what people are talking about. I have no problem with media covering this as long as they're giving facts. If they're getting the facts out there, I have no problem with it. Let's see. National media hype. Why did the State Department bury the airline cruise industry with one stupid statement? Ask Port, who is in control of the State Department.
I suppose it'd be President Trump. I'm not sure. Again, I'm the one who's saying, hey, maybe we don't make this political. Yeah, and I don't know the justification. I'll tell you right now, I probably wouldn't get on a cruise ship either. I'm not saying that everything coming out is hysteria. I think if you start listening to the experts, it probably is a good idea to maybe, if you're in an area where there's been coronavirus cases, to maybe avoid large public gatherings for a while. I don't think a lot of that stuff is out of hand. I think some of this stuff where I don't know, a lot of this is reminding me of like the Y2K stuff. Remember that too? Oh,
good Lord. Yes, the whole world was going to shut down. And that was true. The world was going to shut down. People could die. It was, oh man, and nothing happened. Now in this case, yes, people are dying. But again, you look at the numbers. Look, one death is horrible. I don't want to sound cold-hearted, but when you look at the numbers, and you brought it up, when you go back to 2009 and the flu pandemic back then, how many people?
12,000 people.
Yeah, H1N1. How many people died? How many people were infected? And it didn't get any kind of hype. Now you got this coronavirus, and the whole world is losing its flipping mind.
I was in the hospital for 3 days with H1N1.
You had it. That's right. You did have it.
Mm-hmm. Came down with pneumonia.
Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to trivialize anything. I mean, these are serious things. People need to take care of themselves. I'm just saying, I don't remember us tanking the there was some
economy.
other stuff. There was some other stuff going on with the economy back in 2008.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
2009 as well.
Yeah, they had like a housing bubble.
But I don't remember the hysteria to H1N1 that was anything approaching what we're seeing with coronavirus. And I think you're right, Jay. I think there's a reason why. I mean, even though Facebook and that existed back then, it didn't have its hands around our collective throats the way it does. Social media does today. And I mean, listen, there's a reason why, so many people are refusing to vaccinate their children. There's a reason why flat earth theories there's legitimately people who think that the world is flat. I mean, there's a reason why, these a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, we were talking about Art Bell the other day. How fun that used. Conspiracy theories used to be fun, but now with the internet, people are taking it so seriously that, it's like you got to be careful now. So, I mean, I think a lot of it, you put your, last segment, you put your finger on it, Jay. A lot of it's social media. It's out of control.
It really is. Here's more. Hey, guys, CDC today said 20,000 deaths so far this flu season. Let's see, another email, Jay. February 9th, 2020, article from the CDC. 29 million people have been diagnosed with the flu this year. 16,000 have died. Let's see. Hold on. That's for a different topic. Don't listen to the State Department over the hype either. Well, I listen to the doctors. What are the doctors? What are the health professionals saying? Oh, good Lord, come on, this can't be right. Somebody just sent me, Jay, talk about price gouging. Found this last week. Do a quick search on Amazon. Perel Advanced Hand Sanitizer. $399.99. Now, that's got to be, if this is for real, that's got to be for a case. But if that's true, I
just brought it up. A case of 2 packs, $56.
Okay.
And you also got to remember, sometimes there's stuff on Amazon from third-party sellers
Yep.
So if one of those sellers chooses to crank up their prices on Amazon, that's kind of out of Amazon. I mean, that's not exactly Amazon doing it. And by the way, to a point, I'm not necessarily against raising prices to a point during stuff like this. I mean, a lot of people get upset about it and say, oh, it shouldn't happen. But sometimes that's what you got to do to keep the supplies rolling in. Something like this happens, demand spikes. If you want them to produce more of it over the long term and keep up with demand, sometimes prices have to go up in the short term. That's a natural function of the market. There are points at which it gets egregious and out of control.
Yeah.
And those need to be called out. But sometimes it's supply and demand.
If you took the percentage of deaths from coronavirus, Jay, to the 59 million from the flu, over 2.5 million would have died versus 12,000 in the U.S.
Yeah, the problem is the coronavirus broke out in China who is producing numbers that we really can't rely on. So, and we're still very much in the early running with coronavirus. So I think comparing, although we have been comparing, I guess my point was, listen, a lot of people die from the flu every year. We had a pandemic in 2009 that didn't get anywhere near this attention. I don't know that coronavirus is necessarily anything as deadly. Also, if you start looking at ratios, again, you're comparing most of the deaths have happened in China, where there's not great health care. What would that be like here in the United States? I'd rather not find out.
I don't want to find out. No.
But I think what we're going to find are the death rates are significantly lower in the United States compared to China.
Another one, hey, guys, no one seems to remember the swine flu hysteria of the 70s and the vaccines that killed almost as many as the swine flu did because they rushed to get the vaccine. Yeah, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just, don't want to hear people have died, don't want to see people get sick, but at the end of the day, this thing has just been so overhyped and people have been put into panic mode. Isn't it amazing how all of us, no talk. Remember, Russia was oh, my God, Russia. It's all come crashing down. That's been gone now. All the people being detained at the border. No talk of that. No talk. It's just all gone. Now it's the coronavirus. And at some point, this will be gone. After millions of Americans have had the living daylight scared out of them, after the markets have been hit so damn hard because of the overhype of it, it'll just be gone. It'll be here today, gone tomorrow.
And here's what scares me about that, Jay, because I make this argument actually in the climate change thing, where the climate change people have been predicting Armageddon for so long, and they've been wrong. Like all these deadlines, we're not supposed to have polar ice caps by now. The seas were supposed to have swamped New York and everything else, and it just keeps not happening. Eventually what happens is if people keep crying wolf, it's going to erode our trust in institutions like the news media, institutions like the government. Knock it off.
Yep. Here's another email. The number of flu cases is completely irrelevant. A relevant comparison would be how many flu cases were there 3 months after the virus was first discovered. No one knows where this current virus is headed.
That's not unfair. That's not unfair. My point in bringing it up was, we had a serious flu pandemic in 2008, 2009. I didn't get anywhere near this media coverage. That was my point. Not that the two viruses are in any way comparable. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Coronavirus sounds pretty bad. I sure as hell don't want to get it. But I think what we're going to find out is there's a lot of sensationalism going on that's simply not appropriate.
There's a lot of sensationalization going on. And I'll bring that email up to my guests when I have them coming in here next. Well, Rob, we didn't get to the, as usual, we didn't get to the topics we were going to hit. But
whatever.
Hey, this is what everybody's talking about now. And again, we just got to get the hype out of there, get the facts out.
Also, I realized I just said we had fun discussing coronavirus. This is not fun at all. I'd rather be talking about some dumb political thing. But
wow,
I'm an idiot. I don't know why I said that.
Oh man,
coronavirus is on. Wash your hands. Be careful. Yep. Listen to the experts, please.
Rob,
and not your favorite celebrity tweeter.
What's coming up in your next Plain Talk, pal?
I am actually going to be Ron Ness. I'm working on getting him on tomorrow from the North Dakota Petroleum Council, talking about some of these oil prices, what they might mean for North Dakota.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
You got it. WDAY time 232 news weather. When we come back, we will talk to the experts. Jay Thomas Show.